small, was singing to whom they were in thrall. They couldn't forget Carcosa, the black stars in the sky, where twin suns linked in men's shadows as they pass on by. Their teeth did they gnash, their voices did they bellow, and their sanity melted away, all before the king in yellow.
So we began with Levsner going back to his apartment and seeing his kid Danny to bed, and he uncovered that Danny had this strange book in his possession called Maud Goes to the Masked Ball.
Fucking forgot about that.
It seemed to detail a plot that somehow tied into the real world, because you found that the book itself actually featured a locket that existed in Thomas Manuel's apartment, seemingly possessed by some character in the book named Ambrose. Also, Levsner went through the recordings that Thomas Manuel did through his hidden microphone underneath the rug, and heard a voice talking to him directly from 2 months ago, telling him that it wasn't his cue yet, like he was a character in a play. Meanwhile, the rest of the party uncovered an unnatural space at the top of the Macallistar building. You guys walked into this like turn-of-the-century men's club. There was like a walk-in humidor, there were like drinks available, but it was basically empty. And sort of exploring the different doors, you uncovered... actually, I don't think you guys went in the first time, but you saw Mr. Castaigne's room just off of the men's club, which was called the Smoking Lounge by various people, and it had a sign outside that said the Smoking Lounge. But you guys chose the other hallway, finding a room that had a typewriter in it and pages of a play called the Macallistar play that seemed to have characters in it that you guys have met in real life and that were residents of the Macallistar building, as well as yourselves. At the end of this play sheet you guys found, it said "Enter FBI agents," as though the play was written right when you entered the Smoking Lounge, or it was finished, I should say, right when you entered. What followed was where it started to get weird. You guys found a wall of black and white photographs that all seemed to depict men in suits holding different bottles. And when you got to the last one, it seemed to just depict a singular bottle in a dark hallway. And underneath it seems to depict Agent McGee's real name. But he almost admitted it, but didn't fully. And he also heard a whisper, only audible to him, that seemed to say it's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God, like someone was right behind him. And but upon turning around, he didn't see anyone there. And trying to find your way back to the Smoking Lounge, you guys found that the hallway instead led to this like hotel lobby entrance sort of area, but instead of opening out into a street, the glass doors opened out into more hallways. And so it seemed like this space was like constantly shifting and changing, perhaps in ways you couldn't really understand. And it became clear that the mission now was going to be find a way back to the real world before we are lost in here and we can't find our way out. Before that happened, a clockwork child rolled its way into the hotel lobby and gave you a note addressed to Ian Frederick de Craig, prisoner 12-5101, as well as an invitation inviting you guys to some sort of masked ball that was originally intended for de Craig. And after it wheeled away, you guys head up trying to find the Smoking Lounge again, and somehow, through pursuing one of these hallways, find Mr. Castaigne's office. You talk to him, you see photos of like it seemed to be depicting a war, but you can't really tell like which war. There's like bombed out buildings and like strange like written text underneath each of them, and he seems to describe like some of his family members that seem to be in some of these photos, but he doesn't say which war these seem to depict. And all in all, he just sort of is initially confrontational with you, but welcomes you to what he calls the hotel instead of the Macallistar building, and tells Agent McGee a little bit about the bottles. He says to find one's bottle is to find one's purpose and to become closer to God. And so after all this weirdness, you guys make it back to the smoking lounge. You run into Mark Rourke, another character you guys encountered from the play, who's like a stereotypical 1930s like gangster. And he's just at the bar drinking by himself. He says hello, but you guys just like see the door leading back to the real world and just beeline for it. And that is more or less where we left off. I think the only other thing is Levsner reached out to his kid's school to try to figure out which teacher took his kid and his fellow classmates to that bookstore that Danny seemed to indicate he got Maud Goes to the Mass Ball. So we'll pick up there. We're going to pick up with Levsner first because I realized chronologically it's actually Friday. So Danny does have school.
Okay.
So instead of you like just reading to him and whatever, we'll say like you put him on the bus. He goes to school at William T. Harris Elementary in Manhattan. So you sort of get him on the bus, get him going. But because school is in session, it does give you a potential opportunity to actually meet with Miss Whitwer, or, you know, maybe try to surveil her or whatever you might want to do.
Yeah, I would have to go to work, so I think I'd try to take a gap in the middle of the day where I think she'd have lunch and sort of just surveil her car and see if she does anything weird. Like, I'll take my lunch break essentially eating in my car and staking out the school.
Yeah, I will say too, like, because this is an official investigation that you're the head of, you don't have to go into the building. You know, you could say you're in the field, you could say you're still at the Macallistar building, because it is on the
I guess
books,
it is part of my life. Well, yeah, that's true.
But you could go into the office just to like say hi and, you know, keep up tabs with people. But
yeah, I think I'll do that. I'll go to the office, greet everyone, and then head to the school afterwards.
Yeah, you see your work buddy who has the cubicle next to you, and he's like, "Hey man, do you have
his name again?
I forget.
Jack Holloway.
Jack Holloway.
I wrote it down.
Let's go. Yeah, Jack. He sort of like looks over to you, and he's like, "Hey buddy, we got a bunch of people going out tonight for drinks. If you're interested, I know that Macallistar case is on your docket, but if you have any free time, feel free."
Yeah. I'll stop by for at least one or two, but I think Danny and I are gonna hang out today. It's Friday. We usually do something, go to Wendy's or something like that. So I can't stay too long.
Fancy eats. I like it.
Man loves his chicken nuggets. What can I say?
Yeah.
I'll catch you later. I have to run and do stuff for the case, but if you need anything, page me.
All right. Yeah. See ya. And he just he dials a number, and he seems to be calling someone.
Is Jack working the case at all, or no?
No, he's working a case surrounding the Dredger's office.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like an embezzlement case that they were investigating. Yeah. But yeah, you head out. Where do you go?
I'm gonna stop by McDonald's drive-thru on the way to the school, and so I think before I left, I would have looked up Mrs. Whitwer in like the database, whatever, see what car she drives, and try to find it in the school sort of parking lot, if I could see it, and sort of just sit there and wait. So I'd probably pull up like a photo so I know what she looks like, and then her car, and or just sit there for lunch and see what's going on?
Yeah, you can actually use the FBI records if you want before you even leave the building to
Yeah,
sort
yeah,
of look
yeah.
into her.
That's the plan. Yeah.
Okay, cool. You find her name is Miss Raina Whitwer. She doesn't have a criminal record or anything, but just through various like databases, which are still digital databases are in their infancy, but they do exist. She's originally from Lansing, Michigan, but she now lives in Brooklyn. She has an apartment at 120 Winding Way, apartment 3, Brooklyn. She works as a teacher at William T. Harris, which is public school number 11 in New York.
Public school 11.
Yeah.
Okay. So I will surveil the outside of the school to see if her car is there, and we'll go from there, I think.
Yeah, you don't find any like records of her owning a car. Maybe she
Okay.
takes public transportation.
Mhm.
But yeah, you're not sure like even what she looks like really. You just sort of know some background information on her. So you'd probably have to try to either ask somebody, maybe ask the front desk.
Yeah. No, I think if I don't see anything or get any information, I'll walk in sort of as Danny's father
All right.
to the front desk.
Yeah,
I think they've changed the name of the William T. Harris School.
They have, but it's 1995. I looked this up.
Obviously, so did I. I want to see how close she lived to me.
I know. Once I said like the Brooklyn address, I was like, he's looking it up.
He said 120 Winding
Way.
Yeah, that's
Apartment
that's
3.
fictitious. That's not a real
Ah,
word.
fuck.
But
God damn it.
yeah. But yeah, you walk in. You talk to this woman who you presume was the woman you called earlier asking. And she's like, "Oh, I'm just gonna warn you, Mr. Levsner. She gets a lot of offers, so I don't know if she's gonna accept yours.
I think you're misconstruing why I'm here. Danny, my son, who's in her class, loved the field trip that he went on, and actually one of his favorite books now is from that bookstore. So I just wanted to meet her in person and thank her. So.
Whatever you say. Yeah, she's down the first wing right there, out to the left. You're just gonna want to take a left and follow the hallway down. You'll see her sign on the door if you want to say hi to her.
Okay, great. I'm not interrupting anything. She doesn't have a class right now. It should be around lunch, but
she opens her desk and pulls out like a schedule that seems to have all the different teachers' schedules.
Can I peek over and like without her noticing?
Yeah, give me an
or at least
alertness.
try? Alertness. Oh boy. First roll of the night. Oh, I gotta pull up the chat. Bumble.
Ooh. So she notices you looking. She pulls it back quickly. She's like, Mr. Levsner. She just wags her finger.
Seems like you think I'm doing something tricky here, and I don't understand why.
Well, I'll just say Miss Whitwer is rather popular with some of the parents, so, I know you're a single father yourself. I connect dots when I see them.
I'm gonna do like the triple tap on the desk, like and I like do the finger motion, and I'm like, and happily in a relationship. Thanks for the information. And sort of like leave the office.
Yeah, you leave, and she's like smiling. She's gotten her bit of drama for the day that she's likely gonna spread around. But yeah, you head on down. It seems to be like during a school block, and this block, for whatever reason, Miss Whitwer has free. It's like her lunchtime. You walk in, you see that there is this like attractive woman in her late 20s. She has a messy bun of reddish orange hair. She appears to be like in the middle of reading something, and she puts it down and she's like, hello. How can I help you?
Hi, I'm Richard Levsner. I'm Danny's father, and I just wanted to come in and thank you personally. I heard that he went on a field trip to a bookstore, and I haven't actually seen him quite so interested in reading before, and he got this one book. I can't remember the name of it, but anyway, I actually just called the front office to see if you were in. I think it was yesterday, but they said not and to come maybe in person. I actually just wanted to know what bookstore did you take all the children to, because I definitely want to take Danny back at some point. And I was in
Oh,
the area. I
yes.
was coming back from work, so.
Yes, yes. Well, it's nice to meet you. I love Danny. He's so cute. All the teachers love him. He's doing great. He's a little saint. He's definitely a model for a lot of the other students. So I just want to tell you that.
Glad to hear it.
Of course. Yeah. So we took them on a field trip to the New York Public Library. Took the kids in, showed them how to, make a library card, how to check out a book, Dewey Decimal System, things like that. And we did take them to a bookshop right across the street, in case they wanted to get something to bring home to their parents, which it sounds like Danny did. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but if you go there and, it's, I'd say a block away, it has golden lettering, I think, up at the top, but it was kind of worn.
Perfect. It's more than enough information. Awesome. Just wanted to stop by, say hi, thank you, and if you see Danny, give him this, and I sort of like give the little toy from a Happy Meal from McDonald's. I sort of like leave it on her desk to give to Danny if she sees him. Just tell her his dad stopped by, and I'll see him later tonight.
Of course, it was nice meeting you.
You too. Thank you.
Have a nice day.
And I head out.
And you head out. And we'll cut from there to the other group. This is going to be, roughly like 8 hours in the past. As like around midnight, you guys all rush out of the Macallistar building in a huff. You guys are like just came back from this extremely unnatural space that seems to simultaneously exist and not exist. And you all empty out onto the street. There's very little street light. It's very dark, and it's very light.
Well, it was a pleasure, I guess, working with you all tonight, but I'm gonna hop on the path train and head out of here.
Do we have a plan in place already to meet back up with each other?
I don't think you guys have arranged one, but you do have like each other's beepers and all that, so.
Oh yeah, the beeper.
The beeper.
The pager.
Yeah, I got a few spades tomorrow that I gotta do, so spayings I gotta do tomorrow, so I'm busy. But let me know when we gotta go do some more work.
This is Friday right now.
Yeah, this is Friday at like around 1 a.m.
Yeah, they call it Spay Saturday.
Well, I think we certainly end the weekend, or at least a day off after this ordeal.
I think it would be best to debrief Maynard when we get the chance. He did leave before we went up there and found that weird fucking place, so...
Yeah, he missed a lot.
maybe he'd even want to come with us for a second try. I've got some things to think about myself.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's not going
regarding
to
all
be
this.
easy to get back in there and get back out again. So, maybe some kind of plan might be better than whatever the hell that was.
And I'd suggest that if we'll talk again first, but if we do come back to this place, I think we should come a little more prepared. Bring some more equipment.
Like
And
you're
if,
saying, to bring some masks for the ball?
Mask for the what now?
For the ball we've invited to.
You mean in the thing that weird doll gave you, the note?
I just don't want to be the only guy without a mask. I think it'd be weird to show up.
I was
I was the only
referring more
one.
to if fortune doesn't favor us, we may need to be prepared to spend more than a little bit of time in that place. If we can't
What, do you
find our
suggest
way
like
out.
rations or something?
Rations, more ammunition, more heavy-duty weaponry, tools.
Maybe our buddy at the office can requisition us a thing or two.
Even just clothing. All I'm saying is that we may need to check in.
Yeah, I guess we might have to.
All right. So where do you guys go from here? Do you all split off to sort of go to sleep in your various places?
Yeah, I think it's good to split up.
Yeah.
I know that McGee over here is planning on maybe contacting Maynard in the morning. Maybe paging him.
Okay. Yeah, nobody has lost any like HP or anything, right? I don't think any of you guys have.
I lost 3 HP, and I don't know what
I
from.
lost
I lost 3 HP. The guy that we killed, he punched me in that fight.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah, so you get
at
1
about,
HP
like,
back.
Alright.
How did that happen?
I think like damage from like the sanity fails maybe. I think he had a few good fails. Definitely lost some sanity.
Yeah, I don't think his HP is down.
I thought I don't know, I had a
Might have just been your sanity.
Yeah, you might have accidentally taken it off of there instead of your sanity or something. I don't know.
Should I
Yeah,
just put it back up then?
yeah, I don't remember you getting damaged at all. I think it was just Agent McGee that got hurt from the punch that Thomas Manuel threw before he was knocked out.
The punch heard around the world.
That was a wild session too.
It
like
got me in the jaw real good.
But yeah, we'll say you guys each go back to your own places to go to sleep, and you wake up sometime in the late morning, Levsner, or sorry, Reagan, and
We all have too many names.
I know. So what would you like to send to Levsner as a message?
I'm not really familiar with how pagers worked.
I think it's like a short, like text-based message essentially.
I think it just basically says the number of
think
the
it's like a
phone that
number.
paged you. Yeah, like there doesn't actually display any text. It's just like, hey, this phone basically tried to call you, and if you needed to convey more information, it's like like page me twice and I'll know it's an emergency. Versus like I get one beep
Maybe you
and
could
I know it's like
fax him.
routine. Fax me or something.
Alright, well, I think
Was faxing
there's
big in the 90s?
there's like 3
So yeah,
distinct possibilities, right, as to where we would meet up.
yeah.
Oh my lord.
There's the park where our first meeting was. We met up at like a diner or a bar or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously the whatchamacallit, the Macallistar building. I think those would be the 3 places. I think that Reagan would probably sit around at the park if he wanted to meet. Just at like a public location that he wouldn't draw too much attention.
Okay. Yeah, we'll say in the answer to the pager question, like, because from what I just looked up, I guess some models could send short messages, but other models couldn't. We'll just say for the sake of this, Delta Green, like security-wise, it just beeps that number, and then you have to go to a payphone to contact each other past that. So essentially, you'll just go to a payphone after you've beeped all them to tell them the location of the meet. So what time would you like to tell everyone to meet?
First of all, Reagan definitely sleeps like a baby. Although I think he's programmed himself to, usually wake up at 6. He's tired. And this is him waking up late. He wakes up at like around 7. And yeah, I think he pages the group. In the case that some of them might not show up, that's fine, but page them anyways. And then goes to a payphone.
Okay, what time are you going to tell them all to meet you?
What time of year is it again? Is it like the summer?
It is August 11th. It is a Friday.
Okay.
You know you have your rehearsal later for the Nutcracker. So
shit.
you'd either have to call them and let them know that you won't be there, or go and then come back after.
What time would the rehearsal be?
The rehearsal is at 6.
All right. I guess he'll his message will essentially be picnic in the park, 12 o'clock.
Okay. We'll cut back to Levsner in this moment. We see you look like extremely good and like refreshed after sleeping, and we cut to Levsner, who looks like a zombie because he didn't sleep. And you're gonna have a minus 20% to all checks until you sleep.
Yep.
But you're sort of like bleary-eyed. Like...
Wait, I thought I slept at the end of last session, because. Oh no, I didn't take a full rest though. I said I was gonna take a nap while Sarah went and got breakfast or something, right?
Yeah, it was like very short. It was like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
It was a wink. But yeah, you take public transportation up to the New York Public Library. You see like the stone lions that are at the entrance, and Are you gonna sort of look for this bookshop?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, you start to follow the directions she gave, and it takes you a little bit to find it, longer than you would expect. Primarily because it's like such a just like an unassuming place that like you pass by it several times, almost like it's sliding past your eyes. It has a small cluttered window. That's covered by a rusted steel security gate, and there's no sign that seems to advertise the bookshop's presence. But you see, golden paint scraps seem to trace a dim outline of the word books above the door. And you see the door's wide open.
Okay. Oh, I'm taking notes. You hear Levsner whisper to himself, "Fucking weird place for a bookstore to bring kids," and then walks inside.
Okay, you walk inside and you see there are rows upon rows of bookshelves. It's much larger in here than you thought on the outside. And you see what looks to be the owner of the shop, a tall man of African descent in a gray jacket. He's smoking a cigarette behind the front desk, and there's a wooden name placard in front of him that reads, Robert R. Robert. And this is what Robert R. Robert looks like.
Oh, he's exactly what I would think too. It's afternoon or morning?
I'd say it's like 11 a.m.
Levsner walks in and says, "Morning, nice bookstore you have here."
Greetings. Are you here for a book? Can I help you at all?
Yeah, actually, my kid came here on a school field trip and he really liked the book he got. I can't quite remember the name. It was like Someone Goes to the Ball. I was wondering if you could help me find any books from the same time period or author. This is the first time he's taken a liking to reading, and I wanted to, support that.
Sure, I can help you. Why don't you follow me? I think you're looking for Maud Goes to the Masked Ball.
Yeah, that does ring a bell. Yeah, if you could show me where he could have got it, yeah, I'd love to see it.
I think I remember your son. He was with a group of students that came in the other day.
Yeah, that's the one. One of the teachers brought them to a field trip across the street to the public library. I'm surprised you actually found this bookstore. I didn't see any signs for it.
I know, it's my fault, really. I let everything, kind of go to waste here. I should put more effort into the appearance of this place, but I'm the only one that runs it, so...
No, I like the aesthetic. I mean, everyone in New York always goes for the big bookstores, and they never support small businesses. So, you have a great story here. A lot of character in it. I do like it. Tell me a little bit about it. How long have you been here? And I sort of motion him so we start walking to wherever the book is.
Cool. Yeah. So he starts to lead you in that direction. The store itself is like cramped. A lot of the shelves are close together, so it's very like narrow. But there's a weird amount of depth to this store. Like you almost start to think like, is this like going beyond the block on the opposite side of this business? Like this is it almost is like a warehouse sized space, but it's impossible to get a proper bearing because it's so cramped and there are so many books around you. And he seems to lead you for what feels like 5 minutes. And he just like goes down one way, stops, turns his finger to the right, leads you to the right, and then it's a long hallway of books. Stops, thinks for a second, heads left. You see there's no like rhyme or reason to any of these books. They're not by alphabetical. They're not by like subject. They're not by author. They seem to be random. but somehow he knows whatever system he has going. And he leads you to a bookshelf, and he quite abruptly reaches his hand in, pulls something out, and then hands you another copy of Maud Goes to the Masked Ball. I think this is what you were looking for, sir.
Yeah, actually, I mean, thank you. First of all, quite an impressive lot you got here. It seems like we were walking forever.
Oh, we were? I didn't notice.
Do you have any, are there any stories like, we still have the copy that he got a couple days ago. I was wondering if you had actually any other stories similar to this that he might like.
Oh, let me think about that.
And I sort of flip through the book as he's like thinking if it's exactly like the copy or if there's like differences.
It does appear to be like the same print run.
With the missing page at the back?
Yeah. It appears like that maybe was like a printing choice that they had.
Actually, I'll ask him about that. Robert, was it? I actually noticed this.
Oh, please, call me Bob.
Bob, nice to meet you,
Robert's
Bob.
my father's name.
I didn't introduce myself. I'm Richard. Nice to meet you. I sort of shake his hand. I actually noticed the back. He wasn't able to finish the story, and he was a little upset about that. In the back of the book, there seemed to be a what looked like a ripped page out, and it seems like this one has it too. Do you know the history of this book by chance, and if this was like a printing error or something?
I'm sorry, I don't know off the top of my head. I could look back at my desk to see if I have any record from when I first bought this this run of this book, but I think sometimes artistic choices can be challenging and provocative.
Yeah, no worries. I mean, with how many books you have here, I wouldn't expect you to know off the top of your head. Maybe you can go look it up while we walk to the front. But
speaking about challenging and provocative, and he pulls out another book. And he hands it to you. It's also a red cover with gold embellishments. That's interesting. This one says A World Without Doors. And it seems to, you see the cover seems to depict like a New York skyline on the bottom, and then reversed on the top of the cover is like a golden palace. Appears to be a hardcover fiction book of some kind.
I stop him and I'm like, you were playing me there, right? When you said you wouldn't have any other books like this one. This looks pretty similar. What you hiding back there, Robert? I mean, Bob.
Yes, you're very smart, very intuitive. This whole section here really is a section about venturing into other worlds and trusting that artistic intuition to guide you there.
You're piquing my interest a little bit here. Are all these books by the same author? Or,
No, all different.
Do you have any favorites from this section? I'd love to actually read them.
Well, this one is a personal favorite of mine, but
of course, I'll be taking this one.
But I have some. There's some other ones too that might pique your interest if you liked Maud Goes to the Masked Ball.
Very on the nose, if I do say so myself, and sort of give him a wink.
He pulls out this like oversized hardcover that looks like a medical text, and the title is just A Horse by Degrees.
Okay.
And it seems to depict a horse being like biologically dissected. It seems to bear no relation to what he just said or these books that you're trying to get.
I think I'll stick with just The World Without Doors for now, but I'd love to come back sometime with my kid and maybe we can peruse some more.
Are you sure? I really think you'd enjoy this one.
You know what? Yeah, I'll take it. Just, I love to support small businesses and all that, so I sort of tuck it under my arm with I give him Maud Goes to the Masked Ball back, but I will take A World Without Doors, and I motion for him to walk me back to the front.
Okay.
So, what is the name of this place actually? Since the sign is faded and all that, I'd love to actually know. Don't want to refer it to my friends as oh, go to the public library, walk, 5 feet, cross the street, and you'll see the ripped painting at the at the front. I'd love to actually know the name.
Yes, I understand, and I apologize. I don't really have an answer for you. I just call this place the bookshop.
I like it. Oh,
Simple, direct, to the point.
of course.
You see by this
How long-
point, a man like kind of goes behind you in line, like he's gonna check a book out too. It's the first person you've seen in the store. Otherwise, it's been completely empty.
I actually turn around, sort of like give a glance. Oh, please, after you. I'm actually just looking at this. I want to look at this book a little bit more before I buy it, and I want to try to catch a glimpse of his face.
You don't recognize this person, but
I will commit his face to memory regardless.
in our sort of like, HBO series we have going on here, we would recognize the face as the critic, Maurice Levar, that Agent Mastiff ran into at that play that he went to on Broadway. But he appears to be this like tall, thin European man, and he's like, "Oh no, please, take your time. Me and Bob, we're going to talk. I'm buying something from one of his more exclusive collections."
Bob, you were holding out on me. You have exclusive collections. I'll have to come see it this sometime.
Oh, I do. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's somewhat of a closed circuit of individuals, but there's a certain book that a lot of folks, especially around here, have been looking for. If you would like a copy, I can get it for you. But
yeah, I definitely don't want to impose right now. I know. Sorry, I didn't catch your name, sir.
my name is Maurice Levar.
Maurice, I want to impose. I know Maurice is here specifically for that. I'll just come on back another time. But it was great meeting both of you, and I sort of like hand him the cash to pay for the books.
Yeah, you see, he opens the drawer. What's your alertness?
50.
50. Okay. You notice currency in there that's not the dollar.
Okay.
But he takes your money and he says, well, it was excellent meeting you today. And if you are interested in that book, feel free to come back. I can secure you a copy. I think you're a fine, upstanding gentleman.
Thank you. It was a great experience being here, and I sort of reach out to shake his hand again. I will be back.
Okay. He
And
shakes
I
your
head out
hand.
of the bookstore.
With an alertness 50, you see after you leave, he seems to immediately write something down on a piece of paper next to him. But yeah, you will say immediately after that you get the beep on your pager that you eventually take as a call, and you come to find out that there is going to be a meeting at the park of all the agents.
Okay. That was a fun interaction, Tyler.
Very mysterious. I'm gonna add the world without doors to your evidence board here.
I wish there was a way we could like flip through all of these.
I know, like they're actual books.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. Yeah, I am gonna expand the board because it's getting a little cramped for sure.
Yeah. I bet you could just like if you zoom all the way out to like you could make it like a giant board that at zoom 50 it would take up the whole screen and just start like putting all the piece of evidence there, and we could just zoom in on all of it.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, let's see here. All right, this is A World Without Doors.
Emmeline F. Fitzroy. What was who wrote Maud Goes to the Masked Ball?
That's
Was it Ambrose, right? Wasn't it like written by the same dude that was in the book?
No. I can't find the author in my notes, but it's not written by Emmeline Fitzroy. So yeah, that is A World Without Doors.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to read that book or the other book you got, A Horse by Degrees?
I'll flip through A Horse by Degrees. I'm skeptical of if it's actually relevant, but I'll give it a quick peruse before I dive into A World Without Doors.
Yeah, a flip might have been the right choice because you see, it seems to be a medical book with painstakingly diagrammed anatomical views of a horse. But it appears to be in a language you don't recognize. There's no publishing information in the book. But it's interesting. There's a page that looks like it was once maybe belonged to a library. Like there's a stamp, and it seems to depict like spires of like a city.
Oh, interesting.
And on the lines signed are 3 names. You see, it appears to have been taken out by an A. Chastain, a G. Castain, and an H. Castain. So these are the
well, now someone's just fucking with me here. You hear Richard say under his breath. That's funny.
But the writing in the book appears to be absolute gibberish.
A Castain or Chastain? What a Chastain. G Oh wait, hold on. They are different. Castain and H. Cast. Weird. Okay. Is the seal imprinted by chance? Like, is it like embossed? Or is it just a seal?
No, it appears like they had initially like a stamp that they put on books. And then the handwriting itself looks to be in like a pen, maybe. Like something with ink.
Okay. Alright, I'll put that in my non-existent inventory for now, but I will start digging into A World Without Doors once I get back to my apartment or something. Or to the office, actually. Yeah, I'll go to the office and do it.
Okay.
Until the meeting.
Yeah, so this will be sort of the last thing before we cut to the meeting. You open it up. The book, wouldn't you know it, concerns a little girl named Abby and her journeys to a magical unnamed land. She travels there by drowning herself. In this world without doors, she battles a nameless foe called the Phantom to free people from the dance, a music which forces the people to live boring, repetitive lives. If caught, she escapes the world without doors by drowning herself again, only to appear back on Earth. She returns again and again, and in the end, the Phantom is defeated by the end of the story. But that girl soon realizes the city is collapsing into chaos without the song. So she puts on the mask, becomes the Phantom, and begins the song again.
Oh, that's kind of sick.
Kind of an unnerving book.
Okay. I'm gonna slap a book on Jack's desk and be like, "Hey, Jack, have you ever seen this library stamp before, or do you know potentially anyone that could track down this lead?" Don't ask about the book. It's fucking weird story.
He looks at it like hard, and then looks back
Not
at
that
you.
part, Jack. I just told you not to pay attention to the book. Really weird book.
Why the fuck would I know that?
Hey, man, I don't know what kind of weird shit you're into. You could collect butterflies for all I know.
I'm into some pretty normal shit, man. Talk to me about football, baseball, basketball. That's about the extent of my knowledge.
Of your
man.
knowledge, Jack, I thought you were supposed to be good at your job, and I pat him on the back and take the book back.
Oh well, now you're getting me going here. I mean, I could get some people to look into it for you.
Yeah, low priority. Just something piqued my interest is all.
This is for that same case with the missing girl.
Yeah, she was into some weird stuff, which is why I have this weird book. So,
All right.
yeah, if you could take a look, that'd be great.
Sure. I'll get someone to look into it. He writes down the basic information from the book. So you just show him the outside. You don't show him the inside of the book at all.
No, I'll show him like the library card and the stamp and everything.
Oh, with like the names and all that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he writes all that down. He's like, so have you hit a dead end on that one? Not working out for you?
I mean, I came to you, didn't I?
True enough.
I mean, it's as confusing as any other case we get. Hey, how's your case going on the Dredger's office?
It's weird, man. It's weird.
And you're asking me if I have dead ends, man?
Well, ours isn't so much of a dead end as just a spiral of shit that I'm just keep having to shovel down my throat to get through this.
Hey, you're good at things other than football.
Yeah, shit eating. That's probably my number one skill at the moment. You know, typical business. You know, everybody doesn't know what the fuck is happening. Anyone who's running the books doesn't know who the fuck signed off on X, Y, or Z. There's a lot of embezzlement, a lot of money going in, disappearing. People quitting, people disappearing. We think the mob might be involved to a certain degree. It's fucking weird, man.
Well, if the FBI doesn't work out for you, I guess you can find your new career in embezzlement. I'll catch you later, though. I gotta
Learning the tricks
go
of the
chase
trade.
down some more old leads.
Yeah. Well, it's nice seeing you, and I'll let you know if I find anything.
Yeah. Cool.
He takes it on like a sticky note, and just with your level of like humint. What's your humint at?
Oh, what does that control exactly?
That's like insight, kind of.
Okay. 60.
With humint 60, you know, it's not like his top priority. He's gonna help you out, but you see he sort of puts the sticky note on the far side of his desk setup he has.
I will. I catch that out of the corner of my eye, and I'll scream out as I'm leaving. The faster you get it done, the faster I owe you a drink. And I sort of walk out the door.
He moves the sticky note closer.
Yeah.
Great. So we will cut to the park. So you guys all sort of converge here. Seems to be just like a sunny, busy day in the park. There's light filtering in through the trees above. And we sort of have Agent McGee at the center of it. You guys all sit on the same park bench, sort of near the fountain I described previously. And how are you gonna catch up your fellow agents here?
Are you talking to me or Seth?
Agent McGee.
Tim Agent McMee.
Agent McMee.
I mean, this is mainly to update
Agent Maynard.
What's new, McGee?
Thanks for meeting with me, Maynard. I believe the well, did the other two? Did you guys show up, or were you busy?
Which day was this?
This is Friday, the same day.
It's the
like
same
noon.
day. Oh right, we just like went home in the middle of the. How long would have I had to get there? Would I have had to get there?
Well, you got home probably at like 2 a.m. So you would have had all that time to sleep, or maybe sleep a little bit and do something else. Just so you guys are aware, like, you guys, in terms of your real, quote unquote real jobs, you guys are hired as consultants by the FBI on the books. So like, if you have to, like, you don't have to really give a reason to your work why you don't show up or why you're on a case or whatever. You're just in a consulting capacity.
Gotcha.
That being said, if you feel like there's a level of obligation, like you have to show up, like that's perfectly fine too. If there's some like animal surgery you have to be for on that day, you could like do that and then head over to the meeting too. But whatever sounds good to you.
Spade Saturday.
Space Saturday.
Well,
Why
it's still
would you be
Friday.
working on a Saturday?
No, that's the spay day, Gotta do it. That's the regulation.
It's canon now.
Yeah, I guess I would have made the trip in if I had Friday off probably if I do spay day Saturdays. So.
All right. And Agent Mikhail, would you like to do anything before heading to the park?
No, I think Agent McHale would show up, and I think he would even at hearing about the meeting, the picnic. I think he'd probably maybe even pick up like a few baguettes and some berries or something, just to not feel out of place.
Lovely.
Just four grown men having a picnic.
Carrying a baguette.
Hey, there's
In
fucking
the park.
absolutely nothing wrong with that.
One
Like
jacked
definitely an
dude with
incomplete
tattoos.
like
Yeah, so I'm gonna change this. So it's not gonna be you guys on the bench. You're gonna have like a blanket out.
I would like to
a
say
spread.
McGee brought the blanket actually and the picnic basket, and then somehow, coincidentally, someone else got a baguette and some berries.
You guys all came
I think
prepared.
McHale came with like uncooked like hot dogs, no way to cook them, no condiments, but from like just brings a package anyways.
That's really funny.
Some glizzies.
Wait, is your agent's name Mikhail, Vinny?
Agent McHale, yes.
Okay. Mikhail, what? Really? Raw hot dog? We're in Central Park, right? Are we meeting in a park?
The picnic.
There's just like one of those charcoal pits sitting there.
You guys are in Washington Square Park.
Washington Square Park. But like, we could have gotten hot dogs from the 1,000 hot dog carts probably right down the street.
I didn't want to stand out for the picnic. I wanted to, look like we were having a real picnic.
Here, I mean, go for it. I tossed him a hot dog and I expect him to eat it, just raw and uncooked.
I think he does eat it and
He
just
slurps
just
the
like,
glizzy. Doesn't
I
even.
see why people here like these. No, I think he wraps in like a baguette.
Just don't know how to eat food for some fucking reason. Are you
What-
even human?
No, this
what
is
a
a very common
weird-
occurrence actually in New York parks, so I can attest.
That sounds pretty unnatural to me.
Bro, you
You're
eating
a
hot
weird guy,
glizzies, you
Mikhail.
freak.
They're already cooked. Hot dogs are technically cooked. You can eat them raw. I've never done that. I haven't done that. I don't know why.
Sure.
Cut that out. Cut that out.
Clip that, clip that.
It's on the internet forever now.
Yeah, so how are you briefing Agent Maynard?
So, I think the rest of us have something to update you on.
Something good, I hope.
Something promising but concerning.
Yeah, I wouldn't keep your hopes up.
I mean, spit it out. Let me hear it. I did leave pretty early yesterday, which apologize, but also a
I
family
guess
man.
it's best to start with the things that actually make sense. After you left, we went up to go to the just to check every floor.
I mean, there were only 3 of them, right?
Well, we
Well,
went to the 3rd floor, and there we encountered another tenant. Meaning that this that jumpy guy, the T Manuel guy, he wasn't the only one squatting in that abandoned building.
Okay, so there were more people.
At least we'll get to how many we actually saw, but we ran into one Michelle Van Fitz. And the strange thing is, it appeared that there was electricity up on the 3rd floor as well. Despite all the electrical problems that we'd found. And she had a lot to say about her opinion on our missing Abigail. Saying that Abigail was in an abusive relationship with some sort of salesman. Called him that because he always carries a briefcase with him. Also had some choice words about somebody else living in the apartment building, one that we haven't had the chance to encounter yet.
So wait, hold. So this apartment building is somehow not abandoned then? Safe to say?
Safe to say, things.
Yeah, no,
As you know, things are
bustling.
things are strange in our line of work. But trust me, they get a hell of a lot fucking weirder. She had some choice words about
Buckle up.
Roger Caroon, talking about how he always goes up to the smoking lounge in that place. You know, actually, question: did Manuel mention like the smoking lounge and like the 6th floor or whatever?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So you would have known that at least the crazy guy was talking about a 6th floor before when we were interrogating him, Maynard.
Yeah.
She also mentioned the smoking lounge on the 6th floor. So we had at least something to go off of. we know from looking outside, there wasn't a 6th floor of that place, but we decided to go up the stairwell anyways, and when we reached the roof access, we didn't find ourselves on no roof. Found ourselves in a bar, a men's lounge. And nothing seemed right there. We would there would be signs of people, but whenever we'd go to investigate, nobody appeared. Going through a doorway often meant there was no going back through that doorway without showing up somewhere you didn't intend to go.
So it's also a maze. On top of it, sort of not having electricity, but having electricity, and not having more than 2 floors, but having more than 2 floors.
It's like a moving maze.
It's like a labyrinth.
The labyrinth is something else, Vinny. We'll just say that nothing makes sense. The space inside was a lot bigger than it should have been. Nothing seemed to connect to each other, so yes, a maze is a good description. We found a weird doll that gave us an invitation to some sort of party or something. But I think the most important thing to take away from all of this is that we met with this night manager of the hotel, he called it, Mr. Castaigne.
What's his first name?
What is his first name? I only wrote Mr. Castaigne in my notes.
I was gonna say, I definitely just wrote Mr. Castaigne.
It's Henry.
Henry Castaigne.
An H. Castaigne, perhaps? You bastard.
Henry de Calvados.
Yeah, H.
Castaigne.
Henry.
I actually didn't say Henry Castaigne, but
Well, you said H.
H and H Castaigne. Okay, yeah.
You're like jogging his memory.
Yeah.
H. Yeah, Henry.
Okay.
Was his name.
Oh, Jesus Christ. It just gets weirder. All right, keep going.
He was an older fella. A lot of things in his office, his room, if you could call it that, didn't make a lot of sense. A lot of newspaper headlines for things that didn't happen. Said a bunch of weird things, and he made it seem like nobody would ever want to leave. We sure as hell quickly showed him the contrary to that, and that's when we left.
Yeah, Richard actually chuckles a little bit.
So I believe that or at least it despite how far-fetched this place is, I don't think it's too far-fetched that our missing person may be in this maze, in this hotel.
I would say that'd be a possibility. I haven't found any evidence to dispute that, but there's some other weird stuff that I came across, specifically about that H. Castaigne person, Henry, you said his name was. My son got a book that he got on a field trip, and long story short, a very odd book, different language, from a library that I haven't heard of, but it was checked out by only 3 people, and A. Castaigne a G Castaigne, different name spelled, different last name spelling, and an H Castaigne. Not sure what it could be. Actually, I probably would have brought them to the thing, so I would have like show him at least the horse book.
Yeah, a horse by degrees.
Yeah. Coincidence doesn't exist in our line of work, but just adding to the mystery here.
Yeah, it's certainly not subtracting from it.
Does the book look old?
I mean, I brought it out, so you can see it. Or are you asking Tyler that?
Yeah, does it look like an old book?
Yeah, it looks to be a book perhaps made in like the 1910s or 20s, but there's absolutely no publisher information in the book.
Oh, I'm not planning on doing any reading.
I mean, you couldn't if you tried. It's what looks like gibberish, to be honest.
I only say that because a lot of the things in that hotel seem to be pretty old. Like they never really got caught up with the times.
How pleased would the people be to see us go back there? Are we sort of barred from entry now?
I
think
didn't
so.
really get that. He seemed surprised that we wanted to leave.
Almost confused that we had the choice.
He said that nobody had ever asked to leave. So, yeah. We were talking a little bit amongst ourselves before we left in the early morning. And we agreed that if we do go back in, there's a chance we might not be coming back out for a while. Whether by choice or not.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fair assumption to make. I just thought that if we go back, I'd love to pick this guy's brain about this specific book. Not saying he'd say anything particularly useful or not tell us anything, but
I mean, he did seem to be pretty open to talking and sharing with us, so
Shockingly
maybe if
good-natured.
we can get back in. But I think we should probably plan out if we aim to go back in there. Also a question, Tyler. Around what time did we actually show up at the building in the first place? Not like the hotel, but the Macallistar building.
Yeah, you guys showed up probably around like I'll say 7.
7. So the time that we like spent in there kind of coincided with like time didn't seem, it seemed to like pass normally-ish when we were in this other weird place.
No, actually. It seemed as though when you exited that only seconds had passed.
Oh. Okay, yeah, that's very important. Another thing is, I remember to fidgeting with my watch right before we went in, and when we came back out, pretty much said the same time. Even though I'm sure that we had spent, you know, probably at least an hour in there.
interesting.
I'd say an hour at a minimum. Felt like a lot longer to me.
So, regarding our normal lives, maybe it wouldn't be too bad of a... It wouldn't harm us too much to go in there and investigate. I think it would seem like we have a lot of time on our hands once we're actually inside.
Yeah, that would be a good choice. Risky choice going back, but we probably should at some point.
Well, I think it's best that we prepare ourselves first. Follow up on anything else we can out here to best prepare ourselves. Go shopping for supplies. Prepare to pack any clothing in case we end up being there for an extended stay.
You said, Tyler, that no time had passed in this world, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, it seemed like you guys went in close to midnight, after covering up the death, talking to Michelle Van Fitz on the third floor. Like, a lot of time had passed. It's like you guys essentially went in at 12:02 and came out 12:03.
Okay. Assuming this time shenanigan is true, I wouldn't mind doing that. I think the main thing is making sure that no time passes here where we're gone for weeks because family business and all that. We also should go in with more information. Like, this is the first lead we have, but there's probably still more.
We can also plan on going in for a short stay.
If we can
Again,
get
that
back
place
out.
is confusing to navigate, so maybe if we can just do a little bit of a reconnaissance, maybe try to map that place out, figure out how to retrace our steps and where to go, how to show up where.
I'll also remind you guys that you have a lot of information now. This is an investigation game, so you guys could investigate any of the names you have. You can investigate the building. You can investigate a lot of different things by going through government and city records and the New York Public Library.
That's true. Yeah, I think it's probably good to do that. Like, there's we can at least do like some research on this hotel Redalden to see if it was actually a real place.
True.
Now we have like a lot of names, so we can see if they've like shown up in newspapers.
Yeah, I think we should do stuff.
They probably have like one of those like old-fashioned like cataloging machines in a library, right?
Mm-hmm.
To look through like old newspapers and stuff.
Yeah,
True.
the public library would have probably most of what you would want to look for. If you did want to do this. Again, I'll propose ideas, but you guys ultimately decide the direction you guys want to go.
I mean, that sounds like a pretty good plan to do a little more research before we dive back into that.
Yeah, I think we should try to go through as many leads as possible outside first.
Okay, how are you guys splitting it up, or are you all going together? I guess we'll do like physical location first, and then what you each want to research, I guess.
I do have time to I'm gonna be in the city until through the evening tonight, so I can take a trip to the library and see what I can dig up on any of the things we
Yeah, I think I'm also. I also
It's
go.
not that I can't read. I'm just not very good at it.
Well, Danny has to get picked up from school. I don't say this, but Danny has to get picked up from school, so I don't think Richard would stay all too long if this meeting was like in the afternoon or anything. I mean, okay, so Richard says, I don't have time tonight. I got to spend time with my kid and have to meet some folks running down a different angle on the case. But feel free to research here. I sort of give him the name, or I mean, I guess he can look at the Castaigne names and write them down. Potentially take down the name of the book, a horse, blah 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 blah, a horse by degrees, and maybe he can run that down.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a busy day tomorrow, but I can do some investigating with the rest of the day today. I can go maybe check out that library you were talking about.
Yeah, just the public library.
You just go
Oh,
to the
you're
public
talking
library.
about the one that you're talking about the one that Maynard was talking about.
Oh, that I went to a bookstore though.
Oh, I mean, yeah, all right. I could go check that out, see if there's any.
I wouldn't go to the bookstore. I've been slowly building a rapport with him, so I don't want to spook him off if some more people come by.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fine. Well, I mean, I guess I'm happy to take the day off if there's anything you guys can think I can do.
You can help McGee at the library, to be honest.
All right. Let me get a. I'm gonna go get a bagel first, and then I'll meet you at the library.
There's
So
some
New
baguettes
York.
left.
All right, so McGee and Mastiff are going to the library. Mikhail, where would you like to go?
What were the other options you suggested?
That's the one that first comes to mind. You could also try to go to the New
Yeah.
York City Hall. That's where they have a lot of like building permits and things like that.
Like archive? Would that be like archives, kind of, or?
That's where they'd have like the blueprints for the building and things like that.
Yeah, I guess so. Smart to split up. I'll go look for dig through some old permits and see if I can uncover anything there.
Okay. And Maynard, would you like to do anything before Danny gets off?
How much longer till he's out of school?
I mean, we met at like noon, so
Yeah, so it'd be like 3 hours
Probably.
from now. Another part of this too is you guys are supposed to catalog everything in Abigail Wright's apartment.
oh yeah.
So that will have to be done at some point. You know, unless you get in contact with your handler and sort of update each other on the situation, you might prioritize this unnatural space over the cataloging, but you'd sort of need to get clearance from him if those directives were to change.
Okay. Well, maybe
Yeah, what's-
after cracking some nuts tonight, McGee will go back to the Macallistar building and do some fucking paperwork.
I'm going to stop by Miss Raina Whitwer's building, just as not going in and like trying to search her apartment, more of checking if it's a weird apartment building, just like the one where Abigail lived.
Okay. All right. So we will start with Agent Mikhail. You come into the New York City Hall building, and you're going to search through the city records to see if you can find anything. What is your bureaucracy?
Let's see. It is 40, actually. Surprising.
That's pretty good. Okay. So that means you're going to get a lot of this for free, which is great. Actually, I'll take it back. There's some stuff you're going to get for free, but why don't you give me a bureaucracy to see if you can get the next tier? Oh. Fumble.
Oh,
That's not
of
good.
course.
Okay. So you discovered the original building permit from the 27th of May, 1921. The building began as a private residence for someone named Henry M. Lundeen. I'll put this in the chat. Built in the classic brownstone style. An addendum to the permit in 1953 shows the Lundeen house being refitted as an apartment building. There doesn't appear to be anything amiss in these records. The architect of the building appears to be someone named A. Darabondi.
Wait a minute. That sounds familiar.
That's one of the names beneath the black and white photographs you guys saw.
Yeah. And this is the Whitwer building?
This is the Macallistar building.
Macallistar building.
Yeah,
Okay,
we're with Macale right now at the City Hall.
Yes. Sorry.
So they have sort of a service. You can pay money to get a photostatic copy of any of these blueprints. So would you like to obtain them?
Wait, you have to pay to use their like copier?
Essentially, they can provide you a photostatic copy of all of these blueprints, so you can actually like take them with you. Because otherwise, they keep them there.
Oh, definitely get a copy of those. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's considered a minor expense in this game, so like it's you could have that cash on hand from your handler. So yeah, they make copies of everything. There's only one item that's odd. You're not sure if this is an error of the copier, maybe. But there seems to be a slip of cream-colored stationery that appears to be in these blueprints. And you see the header says Hotel Broadalbin, New York City. And it's stapled to the city permit. The stationery just has a single note written on it, scribbled in a ballpoint pen, and it just says, "I saw the rooms tonight at dusk."
So, like, somebody did the copying for him?
Mm-hmm.
You're saying that was stapled to the copy, or that was stapled to the original?
It looks like that was stapled to the original, and then they photocopied it for you.
So odd.
And with that, we will cut to Agent Maynard.
Mm-hmm.
You're at the outside of this Brooklyn apartment building. It's at, let's see here, 120 Winding Way, apartment 3. And why don't you give me either an alertness or a search as you sort of watch her place for a few hours.
Okay.
Or are you going to try to go inside?
If I go inside, I'm gonna do the typical put a hat on, put a coat on, and put some like glasses on type deal. I'm just gonna go inside. not a fake mustache, but just go into the lobby area, or if it's an apartment building complex, just the leasing area, and just sort of look around, make sure it's not like abandoned like the Macallistar building.
Yeah, you see it appears to be like a pretty busy apartment building. People coming and going. At one point, like a mailman comes through and is like, excuse me, sir. And he sort of brushes past you, puts some mail in some of the mailboxes.
Were any of them apartment 3?
Yeah, you see an apartment and it says R. Whitwer.
Okay, I think that's all he really sort of wanted to verify right now. So he'll leave the building. He'll note any like entrances that require keys and things like that, or like have locked doors. But I think he'll head out shortly after verifying that it's not a weird building like the Macallistar building.
Alrighty. And we'll cut to McGee and Mastiff. You guys come up to the regal edifice of the New York Public Library. You head inside, and it is just a massive building.
I was literally there this weekend.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great time. It looks, more or less the same as it would nowadays. Maybe a few changes. But yeah, what are you each gonna start looking for? What are you gonna head into the stacks for?
Let's see. What are some good ones here? I guess he's kind of curious what Mr. Castaigne was saying about his story, and I think he's gonna look up, like, try to index like newspaper headlines about Carcosa.
Carcosa. Okay.
Because he mentioned that he like escaped Carcosa, right?
He did. Alrighty, so you're gonna look up Carcosa. What is Mastiff looking up?
I think he would try to find kind of like, how we had that all the pictures on the wall that had like names underneath them. I think he'd try to look up like any of those names or basically like any reference to those names in like maybe missing persons reports or anything, crimes that happened in that general area or anything like that. See if there's any names that he can pop on.
Cool. Sounds good. So I will start with Carcosa. So Agent McGee. Let's see here. All right. Which is higher for you, bureaucracy or law? Forget that. This is actually under published work. So this will be if you have anything in anthropology, archaeology, history, or occult. One of those 4.
I mean, history or occult, because I have the default for both of those.
Okay, what's that score?
10.
Okay.
Told you he not smart.
Okay. So why don't you give me a check for either of those, whichever one you want.
Go with history.
Okay.
Because he's under the presumption that this is Like he's like looking up a place, some like normal, real thing. Let's see here. Oh no, that's a failure.
Okay. You don't find anything, at least in this 4 hours you're spending going through and just searching all of these potential texts that could have them. You're not even really sure where to look. Like, you start sort of in like the C section, and then you sort of like start looking through different occult books, different geography texts, but you don't find anything with Carcosa in it. At this point, after 4 hours, you're not even sure it's a real place.
Okay. Well, I think, well, like, all during this, I'm assuming that, Mastiff is also researching his own thing. But, like, after those 4 hours pass, and he's definitely super frustrated, like, red in the face, like, kind of just, like, swearing under his breath at this point. He's gonna get up, let loose a deep sigh, and say to Mastiff, "Alright, I have something I gotta catch. We'll meet back up soon, and hopefully you have better luck than I do." He'll leave to go to his like rehearsal or practice.
Alrighty. And we will go to Mastiff. So we will start with the first name on the list there. So you're looking into A. Darabandi. It's the first name you got. So what is your history score?
It's a flat 10.
And what are your bureaucracy and your architecture scores?
My bureaucracy is a 50.
Oh, okay, that's enough.
What was the other one?
That's fine. Bureaucracy 50 is enough.
Gotcha.
You find several books on him and his crimes.
Let's go.
You find a book called The Devil's Craftsman. It's by Cavett Monaghan in 1952. You find a book called A Darkness at the Corners by Elizabeth Ortiz, written in 1957. And lastly, you find another book called Architecture, Genius, and Mental Illness by Dr. Peter Johansson, 1961. I'll put these in chat.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
That's fire.
During his early career, Darabandi was called the Picasso of architecture. He designed strange, misshapen constructions that he called thought buildings between 1905 and 1921 in Chicago. After what is sometimes called a religious revelation and sometimes a drug experience, he moved to New York in 1921 and took up residence at an unnamed Midtown hotel. The 9 buildings he erected in New York City all still stand. They are, unlike his previous structures, mundane and of the age, with small, obsessed-about flourishes. Only after his disappearance in 1950 was Darabandi suspected of having drowned at least 5 children, beginning in 1947. The books speculate that he may be responsible for many, many more. He seemingly vanished without a trace in 1950, leaving behind the drowned body of a 5-year-old named Isabel Sauer. Huge debts and a logbook which appears to track the deaths of children dating back to 1921. He was declared legally dead by his mother in 1960.
Wasn't that book about like a girl drowning herself to go back and forth between worlds or some shit?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, well, that's worth sharing with the guys.
Yeah, so maybe as McGee is heading out the door, would you like to share this with him?
Yeah, I'll try to grab his attention. Hey, McGee, come here real quick. I gotta show you some of these books I found.
Yeah, I feel like this would be maybe like halfway through the research when he's already getting really frustrated that he can't find anything. Yeah, sure, shoot.
You remember that Darabondi guy?
The Darabondi. He was one of the picture people, right?
Yeah. He was an architect, it seems. Look, all these books are talking about him. Seems like a real messed up dude. Drowning kids.
That really is fucked up. Real piece of shit, seems like.
But here, if you wanna take some of these books, we're heading out of here soon. I'll bring some home with me if you'll bring some home with you and give it a read through.
Yep. I'll take. Which one looks the smallest? Which one looks like the shortest book?
That would be A Darkness at the Corners by Elizabeth Ortiz.
Alright, A Darkness at the Corners. He's gonna take that one and check it out.
Yeah. Alright, good luck with that one.
Alrighty. Next on the list is E. Lizette. So for that, what is your intelligence times 5?
Intelligence times 5 is 85.
Okay. All right. So yeah, give me an intelligence times 5 roll to try to find this.
On the money.
Nice. Okay, this requires a bit of digging, and by this point, you know, it's probably getting close to like 8 o'clock at night. But you do find a couple things. Yeah, so you find very scant records about this person whose name is Elmer Lizette. He appears to be from Louisiana, and you actually find this information because it's like outdated government records that a certain book is like consulting in like a wider survey of the Louisiana state area. But you find that he's born in Odern, Louisiana in 1911. And from a Jackson County courthouse record, you find that he was arrested in 1928 in Oregon for petty theft of codeine tablets. And it seems like once he got bail, he skipped town.
Interesting. Came to the Big Apple. And nothing later on.
No, he kind of disappeared off of official records.
Question, Tyler.
Yeah.
Were all these people like? Were these pictures? Did they all have an actual person in the picture, or did?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Besides the last one.
Besides the last one. Okay. Gotcha.
Okay, so yeah, now it's
They
getting
all
close
found
to
their,
like, yeah, they all found their bottle. So you're getting
bottle of
to
codeine tablets.
it's just full of fucking drugs. It's getting to around 8 p.m. Would you like to continue until they close, or would you like to grab the stuff you have so far and like check it out and whatnot?
Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to read much more than what I've got tonight, at least, and I've got a long day tomorrow and a long train ride back up home. So I'm probably gonna head out.
All right. You head out of the library, and we'll cut over first to Maynard. You pick up Danny from the bus stop and bring him in. He sort of like squeezes your hand as you lead him up into your apartment. And what would you like to do for the rest of the night?
I think I'd let him decide whether or not he takes out Maud Goes to the Masked Ball, or we start doing like a coloring book or something. Sort of just time for me to spend with him. I'm not giving him the book about a girl that commits suicide. Definitely not.
Yeah,
the
it
best
does not seem like the right age for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like he's interested in rereading Maud Goes to the Masked Ball.
I think I would also. Never mind. I would say I would go try to find a show that does that, but there's no on-demand TV. It's not a thing in 1995, so I will reread Maud Goes to the Masked Ball with him.
Okay. Yeah, you go through and it just starts to hit you harder how weird this is. All of these stories that seem to be like somewhat similar, of like a young girl going into an unnamed city. These figures and masks, these phantoms that seem to be opposed to her.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe even Danny sort of picks up on this a little bit. And before you're even done reading, he just like closes the book like he's done and he wants to read something else.
You okay, buddy? Tired of the book finally?
Yeah, he nods his head and he just picks up another ordinary book and opens it for you to read it to him.
I got an idea. I mean, I know you liked this book for a while. Would you want to go back to that bookstore with me, and you could possibly pick out another one?
Yeah, he nods his head. He seems to be excited by this.
How about we go, it's Friday, right? Yeah, how about we go tomorrow? Maybe we find some time.
Yeah, he hugs you, and he seems to be really excited. And it's at this moment that Sarah comes back. It seems like she was just like out for groceries, but she comes back, she plops it down on the table. And she's like, she just takes one look at you. She's like, you need to sleep. You look exhausted.
I think I'm verging on 41 hours, something like that. Yeah, that sounds about right.
What the hell? What happened? Is it something at work? Or are you stressed? Were you out on a case?
A little bit both.
Late?
I mean, it's seemed like this before. It's not really a surprise, but gotta keep going. I do plan to turn in here soon, though. Fun plan I just made with Danny is we're gonna go to a bookstore tomorrow. So if you'd like to come, you're more than welcome to. But if you're busy, also fine.
Yeah, I'd love to. I mean, I'm free in the morning if that works for you.
Danny, does that sound good to you?
Yeah, he nods and he goes over and hugs her. He's definitely grown very fond of her, and interestingly, more fond of her than your ex-wife. For whatever reason. Sometimes, like with kids like this, it doesn't have a concrete reason, or at least one that like you can really psychologize, but your ex-wife definitely took it personally that he would never open up to her like that.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna turn in. Danny, it's the weekend. Feel free to stay up with Sarah. Maybe you can watch. You both can watch some TV.
Yeah, and we sort of see you like drifting off to sleep. You're on the couch and you just fall asleep on the couch while they're watching cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
And the last thing you see on the TV is like this cartoon. It seems to depict like a medieval city and like a king that's sitting on top of a palace, dictating out orders to his subjects. Appears to be like an old Disney sort of cartoon that maybe you don't recognize. But yeah, we'll cut back to Mikhail. Mikhail, you get out of the city government office at around 4 p.m. Is there anything else you'd like to do today?
I think honestly, after the getting into this investigation, realizing it's going to be a lot more involved than maybe originally thought, I think he would honestly just go back to his apartment and then instead of email, maybe he'd write like a letter to his brother and his protege. I feel like that's something he might have done. He might do like periodically just to keep in touch. And I think at this point in time, he would, feel just like not revealing anything, but just, saying that work is good and that he's enjoying the summer and, because they'll just have been on his mind and not knowing how long he may be gone if he returns to the Macallistar building, even though it might not take up that much time in real time. I think that would just be a practice he might do to prepare his mind.
Yeah, and in doing so, you see that you have some like missed beeper messages from Riley Stark, the junior researcher who you kind of took under your wing, but nothing concerning. She just essentially is like along the lines of like, I know that, you're doing your consulting, which you do from time to time, but like just checking in that everything's okay and that, that's the reason you're out of work, out of the lab.
Yeah, that was definitely one of the people I was thinking he'd be writing like a letter to, just like, don't worry about me, just busy with work and summer. Yeah, I think that's just what he would do, and just go home and try to relax, get a good night's sleep before, just like prepare himself, because I think he's been shaken up a little bit by this, and I think he wants to steel himself for the next go at it, because it's probably only going to get crazier.
Okay. And we'll go to McGee at this this nutcracker rehearsal that you have.
Oh yeah. Do 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 do.
You see your friend Kendra White, she walks up. She seems fully in costume, which is new. You guys haven't really been rehearsing in like costume, nor is that like common this early on in the rehearsal process. But she's like, we got them in. I'm excited to see yours on you.
I'm ready to take this seriously now, Ken. I'm excited too.
And you go over, and these costumes, I mean, I guess it's not uncommon for the Nutcracker, really, but they seem to lean further into, like, instead of, like, soldiers from, like, the 18th or 17th centuries, they seem to lean more into like marionettes. But you put your costume on, and she comes over. And she's like, I thought it was going to be too big. That's crazy that that actually fits you.
Well, you know, I've been working on it and filling out, so and he kind of like beats his chest, kind of like, not like a gorilla, but it kind of gives that impression because he's such a large man.
All right, well, let's see if you can move in that thing, yeah? And she heads out, and you see she joins like a coterie of probably like a dozen women in similar, like, sort of like ballerina mixed with like marionette sort of imagery. She's part of like a whole troupe that come out and dance, and you're sort of like one of the soldiers in the scene. And just because I think it's fun, why don't you give me an art dance roll to see how you do?
Okay.
Let's see if I fucking eat shit. Oh! I don't eat shit, but maybe my my lack of sleep is starting to catch up with me.
Yeah, it certainly is. So by the time they're like halfway through, you're like exhausted. And it's weird, these costumes are like kind of uncomfortable. So a lot of the dancers actually are having a hard time. But you gather that's probably why, like, because they have such involved and like craftsman-like costumes, like that's probably why they're introducing those elements so early on, so you can get used to them, as opposed to just rehearsing in like your traditional like dance fits.
Yeah, he's just thinking to himself this entire time. Glad I'm not the only one.
Yeah, you see 5 or 6 people that are like struggling. But you see, unlike you, Kendra is like doing perfect pirouettes. She's like really stealing the show, and you see out in the darkness, like there are just like some silhouetted shapes, presumably maybe like large donors to this troupe, or large donors to like the Nutcrackers and the ballet in general. But you just occasionally just hear like very distant claps.
I'm guessing it's too dark to like see what any of these people look like.
Yeah, unless you wanted to well, actually your alertness is crazy high.
I think in like one of those moments where he's taking a moment to like breathe and like between like little bouts of practice, he like kind of steps towards the edge of the stand and peeks over to see who's out in the crowd.
Yeah, and you see exactly like who you'd expect to see. Like a lot of the big donors for the troupe and for the ballet in general are there. You also think it's strange that they have showed up this early in the process, and they don't normally sit in on rehearsals, but
taking it very seriously for not like a super professional troupe or anything.
Yeah. But you start to put 2 and 2 together that the director that you had previously known was seemingly fired. And it seems like they brought in somebody new with a new vision for the Nutcracker, a new artistic sort of way.
Which would explain like the kind of departure of the costume designs from what he expected.
Yeah.
I'm strong enough to open bouillon, guys, just so everybody knows for the film.
Let's go. But yeah, the rehearsal ends, and Kendra comes up, and she's like super like sweaty, but like very well like positioned and just like very with it, like she's in the zone. She's like, Well, you were having a hard time tonight, huh? I mean, these costumes weren't easy, I'll give you that.
Yeah, I can't say I ever danced in costume before.
It's all the strings
And
for
you know,
me. I can't move normally with them. I don't know. I don't get it.
Yeah, I'm getting all tied up. Even just standing here right now, I mean, he starts like unraveling.
Yeah, and she's also just like, she's talking to you as she's getting like the top layer off and just like sort of heading over into her changing area. And she's like, some of the girls and I are going out for drinks tonight if you want to come, if you're interested. But don't let me keep an old man like yourself out past his bedtime.
You know what, Ken? I am going to join you for a little bit. I've held you off for long enough, I think. Be my pleasure.
And we just see you and her and like 3 or 4 of the ballerinas from a distance. They've all since changed out of their costumes, and you have as well. We see all of you walking down a hallway. And our camera pushes back just slightly, and we see the side of someone's shoulder, seemingly watching all of you from a distance.
Ooh.
And that's where we'll
Secret
leave off.
admirer.
Oh.